Team of the Week.
Team of the Week is the Vic Open team, I guess.
Yeah, the organisers. That's who I thought it should be.
The organisers of the Vic Open in Australia.
Yeah.
So this is golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the events on the LPGA and European Tour.
Yeah.
But the only one where both male and female professionals played in alternate groups over two courses.
Yeah,
with equal prize money.
So I read this article about it, and it sounded like, so they said two courses, and they play in alternate groups, but that doesn't make sense to me. How are they playing on separate courses at the same place? This is what I couldn't work out.
Alternate groups over two courses.
Yeah.
At Geelong.
So alternate groups makes it sound like they're playing like one after the other. So a men's group and then a women's group and then a men's group. But that would make sense on one course. What are they doing on the second course over here?
Maybe
or
do...
is it one goes down the men's course and then an alternate group goes down the women's course? But then why would you have alternate groups?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I don't either. But they were making a big thing about it. So I thought it sounded like a good thing.
What they've done is done you.
Yeah, they've done me there. And actually, this is just a normal golf tournament
with women watching,
with women around somewhere. No, it is good. Like, it's the only tournament with equal prize money in golf. And golf, we've talked about this before because we spoke about that Swedish one that's coming up.
Yeah,
where the men and women are going to be competing directly against each other.
Yes,
this isn't that, but it is a step forward again. Vic Open's going on for a while apparently, so it's a big step forward for golf, which has traditionally been very segregationist between the sexes. To have people, so they don't often have golfers at the same tournament.
No,
like male and female golfers. The LPGA Tour is completely separate to the PGA Tour or the European Tour or any of this. The men's tour is completely separate. So it's really good to, I think, so they were talking about comparing it to tennis on the article that I read.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so they're playing in the same venue, and the guy who was one of the organisers said that in a lot of tennis tournaments, or some tennis tournaments, the women's final is often more watched than the men's final, which is interesting because I have never heard that before.
You don't see that in the Grand Slams, do you?
No, not generally. And they're the only ones where the men and women play together, I think, the Grand Slams, aren't they? I might be wrong on that. I thought, I think most of the tour events are not men and women at the same venue. I don't think so. And you wouldn't, because the tour events aren't really televised.
What about like the warm-up events quite often in the same venue?
No, I don't think they are. Like the warm-up to Wimbledon, there's Eastbourne for the women, and then men's is at Queen's, isn't it? Which is, they're different places.
Did not men and women play in Brisbane before?
Possibly.
Australia?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's only England where
maybe
they don't
it's because it was the only place that wasn't on fire, though.
Possibly. A bit tasteful as well. But anyway, it's good that golf are sort of bridging that gap.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for exposure for women's golf, because I listened to the Cut podcast quite a bit. I would recommend that if you're into golf. It's a good BBC podcast.
Nobody's into golf.
Nobody is, but it is a good podcast anyway. And they talk a lot about women's golf on there, so I have heard some stuff about women's golf. But before listening to that...
It doesn't get the TV coverage, does it?
Before listening to that, I've never heard anything about women's golf, apart from, I think it's Annika Sorenstam. She was like the breakout star of women's golf. I've heard her name briefly.
Is that because we've mentioned it?
Probably. That probably was what it was. I was probably researching for this show. You don't hear about women's golf, do you? So it is good for exposure's sake, for the men and women to be on the same course, I think.
Equal prize money of $1,100,000.
Yeah.
I assume that's Australian dollars.
Yeah, so about 10 quid, something like that. Yeah,
it's good. It's nice.
Still, round number.
Good they don't have to share it.
That's true, yeah. We'll get a bar of sweets, whatever. But anyway, good work, you people. What are they?
Open.
Vic Open, yes. Victor Open. Good work, you.
Team of the Week.